The 708th edition of the MMA Gambling Podcast on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Sign up with promo code MMASGPN to get a 50% deposit bonus of up to $1,000. And we're also brought to you by Rhythm. Start crushing the college football and NFL seasons with Rhythm. Get your 7-day free trial today by going to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/RITHMM.
Hi, ho, degenerinos. Welcome to episode 708 of the MMA Gambling Podcast and the Sports Gambling Podcast Network, dedicated to all my American friends. Happy Thanksgiving to you all. To the rest of the world, happy Thursday. Happy Lux Fight League episode is what it really is. We're going south of the border from the United States for this episode, down to Mexico to cover Lux Fight League 48. I think only the second time we've had a full episode on Lux. Well, we may have dabbled in it when we were doing episodes on multiple events in one, but this episode dedicated fully to Lux, which is going down on Friday as well. So we got you covered if you ever get tired of watching football the next few days, which I doubt you will if you're American. But if you're not American, you may get tired of it. We got some MMA for you. So I got an expert on all these things. Hopefully an expert on Lux fighting. Let's find out. It's one and only Daniel Gumby Vreeland. Are you an expert on Lux fighting, Gumby?
You know, I would say if there is such a thing, I'm probably it. But I would also say, while I know a lot of these fighters, I had, scribbled down some lines that I thought were the important things to know for these fight cards. And I've since been told by people that they disagree with where I have them. So,
Really?
and we've talked about this before in the past where I've got some people who know things about the way sports books line fights, and they're in disagreement with me about where some of these lines will be. So we'll talk a little bit about why I think this person should be an underdog or this person shouldn't be an underdog, and what the other outside experts are saying about it as well.
Interesting. So it's probably a good thing if they have different thoughts on where to line up. I guess it depends. It could be.
I mean, yeah, it depends on whether or not, like if it's in multiple cases, I was on the wrong side of both a favorite and an underdog, or maybe I'm on the right side, but I'm on a different side of a favorite and an underdog. So obviously, when it's a favorite, that benefits us as the better, right? Is because if that does get pulled down to the even money line, there's tremendous amount of value there. It's a colossal bummer when you think you have an underdog pegged, and only for the books to post it as a favorite or close to even money, and then like all the value is drained out of it. Then you're on the hook for telling people that you really like an underdog who's actually like -150. So there's two of those fights on this card, and like I said, different sides of both of them, and we will break down why I think they would be on one side and yet they're not.
Apparently you suck at picking odds for these things. We've been told on YouTube. So
I've been told that. I feel like I do really good week in
Usually,
and week out. Am I wrong about that?
Yeah. All it takes is one bad performance, Gumby, and people will hate you. So
usually I'll say this, like if we do 2 regional episodes like we did Eternal yesterday, you should go back and check it out if you haven't already. When we do Eternal and we do this back to back, I give you what I believe to be the odds for 10 consecutive fights. And yeah, I probably would say I'm within ballpark of like 8 or 9 of them usually. And yeah, sometimes 1 or 2 of them are just absolutely bonkers off the wall. And people like to cherry pick those 2, but that's okay. I'm not complaining.
Well, we're going to find out if we have any Eternal and or Lux experts in the crowd, because that's what we're covering on these 2 episodes before the UFC is up and running next week. And we get some more UFC in this usual Wednesday, Thursday slot for us. Before we move on, heading to Mexico, let me tell you about a deal that we have going on right now. Somewhere you can spend a little bit of that money that we're going to help you in honor of Thanksgiving. We're running a massive merch sale Thursday through Sunday this week. Everything is 25% off with the promo code Black Friday. That's right, 25% off, so a quarter off, including everything, including all the gear that Gumby and I wear, all the MMA gambling stuff, all of every show's merch. So check out our merch store, sportsgamblingpodcast.com/store. Black Friday is the code you want to type in at checkout, and you get 25% off. Boom. Everyone wins. All right. Hopefully this gets some winning picks here. Lux Fight League 48 is what we're going to talk about. Maybe tell the people a little bit about Lux. It's out of Mexico, right?
Yes, it's a Mexican fight promotion. Not to stereotype here, but because it is largely Mexican fighters, we do wind up with a large number of them being the lighter weight classes. You'll see the heaviest fight we're going to cover today is featherweights, which is really exciting. That means it's faster. It's generally higher paced fights from front to back. And then in addition to that, we've seen a lot of people come from this fight organization, like Ronaldo Rodriguez, who recently came into the UFC. I think actually has a win over one of these guys we're going to talk about today, if I'm remembering correctly. And, just like all of those recent fighters that you probably saw on Noche UFC, like a lot of them, cut their teeth in Lux. So it is a big promotion for Mexico and a big promotion for a lot of these up and comers.
There you go. On the fight card, we have one welterweight fight. That's the only fight over the featherweight weight class. So of the
I may be talking about that during my lightning round, so you can
nice. All right, this one is Friday night. We covered yesterday. We covered Eternal, which is early, like Friday morning / Thursday night, 5 a.m. start time, and then you watch football the rest of the day, and then 8 p.m. turn on UFC Fight Pass for Lux Fight League 48, going down in the Show Center complex in Monterrey, Nuevo Leon, Mexico. 11 fights, but we are covering basically half of them. We got full breakdowns on 5 fights, and then Gumby, as he mentioned, we'll have some bonus picks for you at the end of the episode. So hang on, make sure you tune in to the very end. Kicking things off with the bantamweight fight. André Barquero. He is from not Mexico. I think he is from Costa Rica. I know because that's what it says. He is from Puerto Rico. Abraham Nava from United States of America. Perhaps you've heard of it. 3 5-minute rounds, 135. No odds yet. Are the odds for Lux usually all over the offshores?
Yeah, usually. I've said before, it sort of depends on whether or not it is a packed week in terms of fights. And being that this is an empty one, I really do expect you're going to see some of those offshores pick it up.
Yeah, and it's on UFC Fight Pass as well, which gives it bit more exposure. All right, Nava is the Savage, 6-4 with 3 knockouts. He's been knocked out once, 2-3 in Lux. He's win-loss over his last 4, 2-4 over his last 6. Used to fight at featherweight. Barquero, 9-2. 1 knockout, 7 submissions. He's never been finished in a fight. 2-0 in Lux. He's won 3 straight, 9 of 10. The last 3 wins have come via submission. He's not fought low since August 2023. Quite a few people with long layoffs on this fight card. Does Lux not run frequently? Is that the issue here, you think?
No, they've run fairly frequently. I'm not sure what's the deal with the layoffs, but yeah. Right. They run frequently enough.
Good enough. All right. He's not lost a fight, though, since June 2019. One of the benefits of taking some time off. You don't lose a fight. He's a regional champion, or used to fight down at flyweight, 3 years younger than Nava, 2 inches taller.
So I think Barquero is obviously going to come in here as the favorite, the record just being so much better than Nava's. So I think he's got to be a favorite. I'm hoping that layoff keeps the number down a little bit. My guess is still like 3-1 or close to 3-1. You're probably going to see him 275, 280. Wouldn't surprise me. And I'm still going to take Barquero here. The big difference for me, Nava is, man, some of the things this dude is doing on the feet is just very confusing. Sometimes it looks like he's trying to push his forehead into punches. The way that he like dips his head down every single time somebody starts a combination, it almost seems like it's like one of those things that like you didn't work out of like an amateur boxer and like now he just does it wrong all the time because he is like, man, is just setting himself up to be uppercut anytime you want. Or like just like in general, just not being defensively sound. Like how do you rebound once your head is down like that? So he drops his head a lot. He's super hittable. He has a lot of difficulty finding range. And that's going to be a nightmare against Barquero, who is, really good at switching stances. He's very fast on the feet. He cuts angles pretty well. I wouldn't say like expertly, but he cuts angles pretty well. And so like when you combine all of those things on the feet versus Nava, who like dips his head down, like it's just asking for a knockout. And on top of that, as you mentioned, Barquero is coming in off of 3 straight submission wins. He's got a nice little double leg that he can go to if these things aren't working on the feet. I think he should be able to absolutely dominate Nava on the feet, but if for some reason he's more comfortable grappling, he's got the advantage there too. So it's really a multifaceted advantage here for André Barquero. He should win with no problem. Hopefully that layoff keeps that price in a respectable range.
Maybe Nava's trying to break his opponent's hand. Maybe that's.
I mean, that looks like the approach. I mean, like I watched it in one fight and I was like, well, that's a weird thing he's doing. Why does he keep dipping his head like that? And then I turned on another one and he was doing it again. And I was like, oh God, he does it every time.
Fantastic. Well, he's consistent if nothing else. So, all right, let's move on after Tapology gets rid of this ad on my screen. How dare they try to make money here? We should complain about it. We are moving on to, this is Eternal. Why am I looking at Eternal? That was yesterday. Come on, get with the times, people. We are going up the fight card a little bit. Yep, up the fight card, down the weight class. Erick Rodriguez from Mexico versus Hugo Torres from Mexico as well. 3 5-minute rounds if they need it, 125. Torres is Guerrero Malila Warrior. Okay, 7-2, 4 knockouts, 1 submission. He's been knocked out once. 0-1 in Lux. He's won 4 of 5, but he did lose his last fight. An inch of height over Rodriguez. Baba Yaga, which is a witch, is Rodriguez's nickname. He's 6-2, 1 knockout, 5 submissions. He's been submitted twice. 3-2 in Lux. He's won 3 of his last 4, all via submission. He did lose his last fight. That was submission as well. That was back in December 2021. He's not won since May of 2021. 2014 Pro MMA debut. Used to fight at bantamweight.
I'm almost positive we broke down Baba Yaga at in that fight 3 years ago. I'm almost positive that was like one of our early episodes because like I remember you talking about Baba Yaga. When you just said that name, it like sparked a memory. I have no idea what I said about him 3 years ago, but I know we've
well, let's see what you say about him now.
Yeah, Baba Yaga. I think that 3-year layoff obviously makes him a big underdog here. Hugo Torres being like the younger guy is going to be a big favorite. How big? You know, I would guess like high 300s for Torres and then like low 300s on the return for Rodriguez. I'm going to take Rodriguez. I like Baba Yaga as a big underdog here because he's got some wrestling. I mean, granted, he does in that last fight. He did fade sort of with the wrestling as he got tired. But if you watch Hugo Torres, like, and maybe this is more of a fade of Hugo Torres than it is a play on Baba Yaga, but he's so erratic in his fight style. And it isn't to his own advantage. Like, I've seen him like trip a guy and then like sort of like jump and dive to get on top of him and just like, you know, like elevate his body weight in a way that is like not good. And, you know, he was almost like, I want to say he's like flopping around everywhere. You know, like that's the best way to describe it. And it even translates to his striking too. Like he's sloppy on the feet and he like overextends to the point where he's almost falling down. And like his athleticism, I think, is sort of carried him because he is athletic. You know, he's strong. He's a young kid who's, you know, quite good at this. But I think once you start to get in there with a guy who is a veteran like Erick Rodriguez, and you're not fighting this like low level of competition like Hugo Torres has in the past, I think when you get in there with a guy who's good at wrestling and you start to like, you know, mess up in these transitions and flop around, so to speak, like I think the veteran takes advantage of that. I'm worried that the floppiness will tire out Erick Rodriguez because, like I said, he did fade in that last fight, particularly after wrestling too much. But like, is it worth a 3-1 play? My guess is yes. So I'm going to say Erick Rodriguez, if he is that big underdog in here, definitely worth a stab.
What if he's not a massive underdog? What's the range you'd play him in?
I mean, I would dabble a small play on him as like a plus 150 underdog. Okay. Like if he was plus 150, I mean, I wouldn't get all excited about it, but I would, you know, consider him as a likely to win because just again, as a fade of Hugo Torres, if he's 3-1, I'm feeling really good about it.
All right. Awesome. All this talk about underdog has me thinking about underdog fantasy. Underdog Pick'em is one of the biggest menus for all sports, NFL, college football, college basketball, MMA, NBA, NASCAR, and more. You can now use specials and boosts on all flex entries. Gumby, do you have a play for us? Maybe a Thanksgiving football play?
Yeah, the Dallas Cowboys are going to be playing the New York Giants. Both teams. Actually, the Cowboys look good this week, and I'm going to keep riding with the Cowboys. Jake Ferguson's hurt, and Luke Schoonmaker has been playing in his stead. Back-to-back games with at least 50 receiving yards for Luke Schoonmaker. So let's hit the higher than on those receiving yards. Luke Schoonmaker.
Gumby's making up names of football players again, but that's all right. We'll
You
take
don't think
it.
that sounds real? You don't think Luke Schoonmaker?
Nope. Sign up. One thing that is real, our promo code MMA SGPN. Sign up with that, and you get to claim your special pick and first time deposit offer up to $1,000 in bonus cash on underdogfantasy.com. Promo code MMA SGPN. All right, let's move along. As I just remembered, I have an appointment in half an hour, so we better start moving along, Gumby. All right. What do we have next? We're moving up to third from the top, bantamweight, Luis Rey Gallegos, Jaime Londono, both from Mexico, 3 5-minute rounds, 145. Londono is cracking. Must be a fan of the hockey team. 5-3 with 1 no contest, 1 knockout, 4 submissions. So he's finished everyone that he's beat. He's only been stopped once via submission. 2-2 in Lux, 0-2 over his last 2, 3-2 over his last 5. He's not fought since May of 2023. He's not won since August 2022. Used to fight at lightweight. 7 years younger than Gallegos, an inch taller. Gallegos is Corazon de Leon, Lionheart. We've had this before. I don't know. Was it this gentleman? Perhaps it may have been. I kind of recognize his name.
Might have been.
Maybe. He's 9-8, 3 knockouts, 2 submissions. He's been knocked out twice, submitted twice. 5-6 in Lux. Win-loss, win over his last 5 fights. 3-4 over his last 7. 0-1 in bare knuckle boxing.
So this is the first of the 2 fights. Actually, the first of the 2 fights in a row where I thought I had a read on the line, and I've been told by people in the know that I could potentially be wrong here. So I originally thought Gallegos would be a favorite here, and I liked Jaime Londono as an underdog. I was hoping to get Jaime Londono as an underdog. If I still can, I will be elated because I really do think he's got some advantages in this fight. I thought he was going to be an underdog. Recent losses, layoff, all those things. I've sort of been told it might be the other side because Gallegos' record doesn't look great either, and he's so much older. And they seem to think that might weigh heavily. I've noticed that the books don't seem to weight the age factor as heavily when it's not the UFC, which is why I thought Londono would be an underdog, but perhaps I'm wrong. So we'll just call this one a pick-em. If it is a pick-em, I'm still taking Londono here. I think the advantages he have, Gallegos is, first of all, a left-hander. He's a southpaw with really good combinations when he's moving forward. He does leave himself a little bit open to be countered because when he starts letting go with the combinations, he's decided that this is a 5-punch combination and he's not going to stop until the combination is over. His opponent can be gone. He's going to finish the combination. His opponent could not be in the correct range anymore. He's going to finish the combination. That's just kind of my read on Gallegos. And that seems like it would be a problem against Londono for 2 reasons. Number one, Londono can crack. When Londono hits you with a power shot, you're going to feel it. You're going to drop. I've seen some really impressive knockdowns from him in his short pro career. And I think that could be a problem here for Gallegos if he does start to become a little bit predictable with those extra long combinations. And then in addition to that, Londono's wrestling's kind of sneaky good. You don't see him use it as his first part of his game plan really often, but he does catch kicks and turn them into takedowns pretty easily. And he does that with like a back knee tap, which is, good enough in this instance. If he catches Gallegos' kicks, he should be able to turn those into a takedown. So I personally like that Londono has like kind of a good style to beat somebody who is going to be having extra long combinations. Again, I thought he'd be an underdog based on the recent losses, but again, I would probably like him up into pick him and, maybe as a parlay piece as a small favorite if that is where the books decide he should be.
The Tapology cappers, 87% on Londono, so you may be out of luck here as a.
Man, that is weird. Yeah. I wonder if it's just the 9-8 record on Gallegos, though. That the reason the Tapology peeps are on the wrong or that side. So, I think he's clearly the better fighter. And I would pick him 86% of the time, but I don't know if the books will feel the same way. So we'll have to find out.
Tapology peeps are Tapology cappers. They're one and the same.
Literally.
You would think. There's a good title. All right, we are doing nothing but title fights the rest of the way. We got LFA Featherweight Championship up first in the co-main event. Edgar Delgado. He's not from Mexico, but he has their belt. He's from Costa Rica as well. as a fighter earlier. Alejandro Corrales, he is from Mexico. He's trying to take the belt back to Mexico. 5-5-minute rounds, 145 pounds. Tell you about the challenger first. Corrales Toro Bull is the nickname. 7-2, 3 knockouts, 1 submission. He's been knocked out once, submitted once, so finishing both his losses. 5-0 in LUX. He's won 5 straight fights. A sub win in his last fight. He's not lost since October 2020. He's fight at 155, 8 years younger than Delgado, 2 inches taller. Delgado is Sabolero, which means onion. What a great name.
That rules.
Yes, it is. Onion. 14-6. 6 knockouts, 3 submissions. He's been knocked out once. 6-3 in LUX. He is a champion. He has successfully defended the title twice already. He's won 5 straight fights, 3 straight via finish. Is not lost since May 2022. He used to fight at lightweight as well. 2014 pro MMA debut.
Should I say there's lots of layers to his game?
Oh, look at you.
This is the fight where I've actually heard the opposite of what I was hoping for. So I had Edgar Delgado as a big favorite here, and I was going to pick him. And I'm almost hearing the opposite is going to happen. I'm hearing people sort of like Corrales in this fight. I'm one of those people who, when they're predicting regional sportsbook odds, I always kind of assume they're going to like the favorite unless there's a real clear reason not to. And I don't see a real clear reason not to like Delgado. I thought he'd just be like -180, -200. And some people are telling me we might see him as an underdog. This is one of the ones where I hope the book is doing what, my information people have said, and they do make Delgado an underdog, because I would love Delgado as an underdog. I would have been fine with him at -175, to be completely honest, because if you watch Corrales, he is coming off of a win, submission win, right? If I'm not mistaken.
Yep.
He was dominated in the grappling early in that fight. He was taken down. He had his back taken. He was in bad positions multiple times early in that fight. And then his opponent got tired, and then he was able to take over, which is like all well and good until you're fighting somebody with the same level of cardio as you and better wrestling, which I think is the case here against Edgar Delgado. Edgar Delgado has a really good wrestling base, and he's got 6 submissions. Like, he fought Jose Alberto Quinones from the UFC, who you guys might remember from the UFC. Heel hooked him. He out-wrestled him, and then when they got into a scramble, he hit a heel hook and got the tap. So, like, this is a guy with high-level jiu-jitsu who's out there submitting UFC veterans with low percentage moves. And I think his wrestling is better than Corrales. Corrales put himself in bad positions earlier. If he does that against Delgado, he will not survive for his cardio to take over. You know what I mean? So I like Edgar Delgado here. I pray the person giving me information is correct, and that this is a +130, +140 guy, because if he is, I say, pound the Delgado side here.
He is only getting 34% of the picks on Tapology. So
why? What, I don't know what the point of that. That's crazy.
You're picking him.
Yeah, I love Delgado.
So there you go.
I love onions too. I'm a big onion guy.
Oh, do you? Are you a big onion guy?
Yeah, big onion guy here.
Could have lots of onions today on Thanksgiving.
I'm not quite sure. I mean, my mom's got it in her stuffing for sure. Just like a little crunch in there. I prefer the onion over the celery in the stuffing. That's my controversial take here.
No, that's not controversial at all. All right, we're gonna get to our main event in a sec after I tell you about MyBookie. MyBookie.ag. We are brought to you by MyBookie.ag. MyBookie has been running on SGPN for years. Check out the new and improved website, great on mobile, plus props in for every game and the live dealer casino. Even new early cash out options. Check out all the MMA lines there and head to mybookie.ag. Promo code SGPN for 100% deposit match up to $1,000 plus a $10 casino chip. That's mybookie.ag. Promo code SGPN. And SGPN's proud partner Rhythm is the #1 AI-powered sports betting platform that helps provide bettors of all levels the ability to build custom predictive betting models in seconds and get predictions for betting on money lines, spreads, totals, and props. Build your own model, copy one of the top performing models from the leaderboard, or have Rhythm build you a model. Now you can track props in the Rhythm app. NFL picks, NFL props, college football, college basketball, and NBA. Rhythm has it all. Ella Horford props. Damn right they have Ella Horford props. So check it all out. Claim your 7-day free trial today by going to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/RTHMM. All right, back to Mexico for our main event. No surprises here, right? We got a 96% favorite in this one, according to the Tapology.
Yeah, people. This one's not a surprise.
LFL Flyweight Championship. Jorge Calvo, excuse me, from Mexico. Kiki Gonzalez. Actually, Jorge Calvo is from Costa Rica, another Costa Rican, versus Kiki Gonzalez from Mexico. I take it they recruit a lot of fighters out of Costa Rica. We have 3 we're talked about already on this card. So 2 of them are champs. Kiki Gonzalez from Mexico, 5-5 in rounds, 125. Kiki Gonzalez is El Locote, the crazy, 12-4, 4 knockouts, 1 submission. He's been knocked out once, submitted once. He's 4-2 in Lux. Lost win over his last 4. He did lose to Calvo back in March of 2024. Way back then, Gumby. Do you remember that far back? 8 months ago. He's lost this man, so it's a rematch. He used to fight at a bantamweight 2012 Pro MMA debut. Calvo is Georgie, is the nickname. 18-6, 1 knockout, 11 submissions. He's been knocked out twice. 8-1 in Lux. He is the champion. He has successfully defended his title 3 times already, including once against Gonzalez. He's won 6 straight and 8 of 9. Won his last fight via submission. He's not lost since May 2021. 2014 Pro MMA debut. 4 years younger than Gonzalez, 3 inches taller.
Yeah, and for me in this fight, I like Calvo. I've got no problems with Kike Gonzalez. I don't know that he should be getting another title shot here. He got bloodied pretty bad in their first fight. I think Calvo's going to be a negative 400 favorite. I don't think I'm squeezing him into parlays at that price. Because while he beat up Gonzalez last time, pretty good. And I think he's the better fighter. I just don't know that he's going to be as good as his inflated odds. Because like I said, he's only lost to really good people, like really good people. Like all four of his last 4 losses are to people who either fought for the UFC, fought on the Ultimate Fighter, or won a Contender Series fight and didn't get a contract. Like all of the people he's lost to, or the last 4 people he's lost to, that's true. And the other 2 are good ones too. Alexis Vila and Gustavo Ballart. So like all 6 of his losses are to very legit people. He's the champ. He's beaten them already. Like all of those are reasons that the book inflates the odds. And like, it was a clear victory for Calvo, but I'm not sure that necessarily like, I still feel like I want to dump him in parlays at negative 400 because he's kind of limited on the feet, if I'm being honest. Like when he can get his wrestling and his jiu-jitsu going, like he's sharp on the ground, literally sharp on the ground. He cut him with elbows. Like he's sharp on the ground, but I don't think he's just like dominant enough for me to be like, there's no way Kike Gonzalez could win this fight. And for Kike, like he's got some like nice little foot sweeps. His hands are really, really tight when he's striking. Like he keeps them almost too rigid. And I think ultimately that makes him like a little bit less active. Like he winds up being kind of stationary on the feet for too long, and kind of complacent. And so like, I think for all those reasons, Calvo should win, but I would just like caution you. Like if your thought is just like, well, throw the big favorite who's a champion into a parlay, maybe leave that one out of there. Because it's not going to help your odds all that much, and it's not probably worth what his number is going to be. But if you're asking me for a winner, Jorge Calvo.
We are asking for a winner. So there you go. We got your winner. Recap, and we'll get you some bonus picks, and we'll get out of here. You can enjoy the rest of your Thanksgiving. He's got Calvo. He's got Delgado, hopefully as a dog. He has got, I think I missed one here. Who do we got? Gallegos? Londono, right. And what were you thinking? What were your hope? Actually, this is one you didn't know about, right?
I thought dog, but maybe not.
Yeah. Okay. Maybe a dog, maybe not. He's got Rodriguez. He has got Barquero. All right. Lightning round. Zap, bang, boom. What was that again? Go ahead.
Barquero.
He also says Barquero, whatever I said. I can't even mispronounce it again. All right, lightning rounds. That bang boom pow. What you got for us?
All right, first one I got Suzette Gomez. She is only a 2-0 prospect, but her second win came against Grace DeFrancesco, who was a really touted prospect, fought most of her amateur fights for LFA. And you know how LFA doesn't do a lot of amateur fights. So Grace DeFrancesco was like kind of a touted prospect coming into the pro ranks. She's maybe not lived up to that hype, but Suzette Gomez kind of handled her pretty easily. So for me, that's a reason to like Suzette Gomez. The other one I like is Silvestre Sanchez. You mentioned there's only one welterweight fight on this fight card, and it is him. And I'll just be honest, like maybe I don't think he's got the most well-rounded game, but his ability to take people down and take their backs is exceptional. And like, I think that's probably all he'll need here. So Silvestre Sanchez and Suzette Gomez are my 2 lightning round picks.
All right, you are set, ladies and gentlemen. Happy Thanksgiving if you are American. If not, happy Thursday, everyone else. We shall be back on Sunday. I haven't even checked next week, so I assume there's
there's lots of good stuff next week. Don't
good.
worry.
Plenty of regional to cover next week, and the UFC is back again with the pay-per-view. So yeah, next week should be a good one. So in the meantime, we shall be in the Discord, even on Thanksgiving, sportsgamblingpodcast.com/Discord. Twitter, you can hit us up there. Gumby will reply. I'm sure if you're played enough, SGPN MMA. He's at Gumby Vreeland. I'm at Jeff Fox Writer. I'm the same on Instagram. Of course, YouTube. Make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel, MMA Gambling Podcast, and you can hit us up in the comments there. Check out my Substack. I will have my UFC pick'em up and running again next week when the UFC is back. I'll have a bunch of articles up there. In the meantime, though, moneymma.substack.com. Gumby has Top Turtle MMA podcast. Should be in your feed as we speak, right? Who's on it this week?
Jose Perez and Jeremy Kennedy both fighting on this PFL card this week.
Yes, you got some PFL action going down on Friday as well. So check that out. And of course, we're at sportsgamblingpodcast.com, sportsgamblingpodcast.com/store, sportsgamblingpodcast.com/Patreon. Remember the store, the code Black Friday will get you 25% off. All right, Gumby, take us out.
All right, I'm David Gumby Vreeland. He's El Zorro, Jeff Fox, and we will see you on Sunday.